Hi everyone, I'm Lance DeVoe, naturalist for the City of Rochester Hills. This is Lauren Oxlade, she's our outdoor interpreter. Together we form the outdoor engagement team. Maria Willett is here from the mayor's office. She's going to be monitoring this Facebook Live presentation. We're here at beautiful Spencer Park. I think you just saw Carter Lake in the background. And today we're going to talk about turtles.
Let's do it.
You ready? All right.
All right, the first one that we're going to start with is an eastern box turtle. This is our only true species of land turtle. It's not a tortoise. Get some of this shaving off his face. This one is a male. Typically the males have those really beautiful bright red eyes and the black and yellow coloration on their face and their shell. Another really interesting thing about this turtle and the way it gets the name box turtle is you can see it has a hinge shell along the bottom here. So what they can actually do, and he's probably not going to do it because this is an educational animal, so he's not very scared. But if you can see that hinge moving, they can actually completely close up their shell as a defense from predators.
Largely because they do live on land. They don't have the safety of the water like a lot of our aquatic turtles. So they have to have a way to protect themselves from predation when they can't. They're slow moving and they don't have the luxury of swimming away like some of our other turtles that we're going to look at.
This turtle actually is a turtle that you're not allowed to have in captivity. Sometimes people will catch them and they'll keep them as pets, but this is a protected species, so you can't keep these as a pet. Their populations aren't doing as well as they used to, but you can find these guys predominantly on the west side of the state. And they actually can live to be 65 or so years old. They live a really long time. They have a really specific set of diet requirements and housing requirements and things like that. They are omnivores, so they're going to eat a combination of plant and meat material. They will also scavenge, but they'll eat things like earthworms, wild strawberries, greens, things like that. But in captivity, they're actually quite a bit of work. The females typically, now I say typically because this isn't always, but usually the females have, excuse me, have brown eyes, and the males typically have red eyes.
Where'd this one come from?
This one was captured by someone from the wild a long time ago, so it's
not
way too habituated to people. So this one is going to be a captive resident for the duration of its life because it's been in captivity for way too long. Another characteristic of male box turtles is they have this indentation on the bottom of their shell, which is called the plastron. So that's an eastern box turtle.
Cool. Let's do
that's
this
a good one to go to
and then
next.
You can talk about. So this guy is actually a wood turtle. We actually have 9 different species of turtles in Michigan. 10 if you include the red-eared slider, that's a common pet turtle that you see in pet shops, and it's been released all over the state, so now you can actually find them in the wild. But this one's a wood turtle, gets its name from the back of its shell that looks like a piece of wood. And
he peed on you. He doesn't like you.
Jeez.
Put it down.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, just put him on the table. He doesn't like you.
Why didn't you say so? Oh, now he's all fired up.
You can put him on the ground and let him walk around if you want. I don't know if people want to see that.
So
He's calmed down now? Okay.
Good Lord. Like Lauren said about the box turtle being a land turtle, this one is what I would say is semi-aquatic. They live near water, but they spend a lot of time on land. I've seen them all over northern Michigan, oftentimes near rivers, but normally when you see them, they're actually on land, and that's why this camouflage of looking like a chunk of wood is helpful for them, because they don't spend all their time swimming around in lakes like some of the other turtles that we're going to look at next. They also have a really interesting looking plastron that has multiple colorations of black and yellow. So kind of a good, oh, he's getting all fired up at me again. Jeez, how long has this turtle been in captivity?
A long time. He just doesn't like you.
Jeez Louise. Well, I'm going to put him Actually, let's see if maybe he can crawl around a little bit and he'll feel, you can see how, as a defense mechanism, because he didn't like me holding him for some reason, he pulls his head in, and because his shell doesn't close up the way the box turtle does, he takes his front legs and curls them in front of his head. And that's how they protect themselves from something like if a heron tried to spear him and get inside his shell, he protects himself that way. But he's much calmer on the ground now.
I found turtles in the wild before too that have had one or two limbs eaten off before from being attacked by something.
Or like a stump where they've been.
They seem to do okay as long as they have, I'd say, at least 3 of their legs.
Maybe he'll go out in the sun and be happier. That's a whole lot of stuff going on there.
All right, do you want to put him back? And
No, let's let him crawl around and he can graze a little bit.
Keep an eye. If you guys want to come and check out a baby painted turtle, this guy's pretty cool. They get the name painted turtle because they have all this beautiful coloration on the bottom. You can see the red around the edge. The top of the shell is called the carapace. The bottom is called the plastron. And you can see all the red along the edge here, and they have a really beautiful face with lots of yellow striping and markings. This one's a couple years old. He's maybe 3 or 4 years old. When they hatch, because they do hatch out of a small oblong-shaped egg, they're only about the size of a nickel, maybe between a nickel and a quarter. They're very, very tiny. So actually not a lot of them make it. When these turtles lay eggs, they only lay about 5 or 6 maybe. Sometimes just 2 or 3, because if you see the adult here, it's not a very large turtle, and their eggs are oblong shaped, but about the same volume as a ping pong ball. Whereas like snapping turtles, which we're going to show you in a minute, they can lay up to 30 eggs. This is an adult, but you can still see the same beautiful coloration around the edge. This is actually our state reptile. So full grown, they're not a very big turtle. They have a really smooth shell. And this one is actually a female. Females are typically larger, which is pretty common with reptiles and amphibians. And the males also have, mature males have long front nails because they do this really funny dance when they're doing courtship with the females, where they go and they wiggle their nails in front of their face, which I think would be really annoying, but it seems to work for turtles. But that's the painted turtle. That's our state reptile.
And probably our most common turtle. And that's the one that you'll see all over. Mostly not a big river turtle, mostly in lakes and ponds. And they have to have basking. They're huge basking turtles. It's the one you see most often lined up on logs, basking in the sun, especially in the springtime when they come out of hibernation. All these turtles hibernate. The painted turtle goes down and buries in the mud at the bottom of a pond and spends the entire winter down there in super slow heart rate, becomes really low, and they're able to overwinter down in the bottom sediment. And then when the ice melts and the days get longer, they swim up, and that's when you can really see them basking. So cool turtle, the painted turtle. So we saved this last one, and the reason we picked the turtles to do this program in the spring is that this is the time of year when turtles leave, the aquatic turtles will leave their aquatic lifestyle and they'll look for a place to lay their eggs, because they lay their eggs on land. They'll dig a hole and bury the eggs. And the most common one that is seen, because they are so large, and we're going to look at a small one first, and I'm going to show you a big one, is the snapping turtle. This one,
He's about 3 or 4 years old.
I was going to say 3,
Yeah.
but haven't you had him since he was just a little?
Yeah, like a hatchling, which when they hatch out, they're about quarter size, but really tiny. I mean, everything eats them. Birds,
So
frogs.
This is the largest reptile in Michigan. They get to be enormous garbage can lid sized turtles. This is just a little guy, but you can see, and that's why I'm holding him and not afraid that he's going to bite. He's been in captivity for several years. But you can see on his bottom, because I'm not going to be able to show you this on the bigger turtle.
No.
The plastron doesn't even cover all of the soft, fleshy portions of them like it did in some of the other turtles, where you can see it's much larger, lots more protection. The snapping turtle, because it never leaves the water except to lay their eggs or if the body of water that they live in dries up, then they have to traverse to another spot.
They'll
So-
occasionally bask, but not the same way your other turtles do. They rarely come out like that.
So, but you can see what his protection is from how long his neck is and how hard they can bite. Most of the turtles, they'll open their mouth and they'll hiss at you sometimes, but if a snapping turtle gets an opportunity to bite something that's harassing it or that it feels threatened by, that's how they defend themselves. They are excellent swimmers. They've got good paddles, and they'll go down to the bottom of a pond or they live in rivers too. They're all over the Clinton River.
They're a
out here
very
at Spencer
adaptable
Park.
turtle.
Yeah, they can live almost anywhere. But I'm going to pick this one up. I don't recommend picking up big snapping turtles because they are really ornery. They smell really bad. They've got algae and leeches.
They're slippery. They're hard to pick up.
Hard to pick up. They start scratching you. You're going to see you're going to see his claws. You're going to see the scales on his tail, which is really cool. They look like a dinosaur, but I'm sure he's going to open his mouth and start hissing and not be very happy. But sometimes it's necessary to move them off of the road. This one was on the side of a road, and we're going to release him after we do this program. But I don't recommend going up and picking them, shooing them off the road with a stick, getting them so they won't get hit is a good idea.
And always take them in the direction that they're going, because it'll go right back across.
And don't pick them up by their tail. That's the safest way to not get bit, but it can injure the turtle. They have vertebrae that go up into the tail, and it stretches it out, and so
Because they're very, very heavy.
the best way to pick them up is just right by the back shell, and he can't get to me,
Smiling for you.
but he's not happy. You can see his mouth open. I don't know if you can hear him
And this
or
one
not.
actually is probably a female that was going to lay eggs.
So we're gonna
you
let
see
her-
You see them laying eggs
She's
all the
trying
time.
to scratch me. You can see her trying to look at those claws. She's trying to dig them into me, and you can see same thing. She doesn't even like that. Maybe she likes you better. She hates you.
She doesn't like you.
That was at you.
She's pretty mad.
Yeah. So if you got too close to that, I mean, she would definitely
She would do some damage.
would definitely try to get you. Well, maybe does she want to see you again? Oh, that she hates you. She doesn't like you. Gosh, she's ornery.
We'll take her down to
And-
the lake
ooh,
and
does
let her
she
go.
smell, too?
Yeah, they smell terrible.
So,
they get
if
leeches
you-
on them and stuff.
If you want to come out and see any of these, we're going to be here until 11:30.
11:30.
So you can come out and see the turtles.
You
Our
guys
wood
can
turtles
hold
over there
them.
eating.
Can't hold the snapping turtle.
We won't
but
let you pick this one up, but you can check
You can come
you
see
can
her.
check her out. She's pretty neat. So, any questions for us? We're good? Awesome.
All right.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, jeez.
She
I'm
wasn't
going to wipe my hands on you.